I said, Mark, match me on this. And I mean, he didn't hesitate a second. He had not even met the nuns. Then he went to the nuns. We went and met them, and he went and he bought them a home for them to stay in. And then we went through 4 years of the city trying to not let them take over this place. But that's the kind of guy Mark is. So he's incredibly generous, and I'm very touched that I could count him as a friend and be helpful to him, and he's been so helpful to me.
I've learned quite a lot about you today just from observing you. And one of the big things that I've learned is the 2 moments where I've seen tears in your eyes have both been moments where people have expressed a huge amount of love and appreciation for you.
That's true.
And I work back through your earliest years, and it's almost like a jigsaw puzzle coming into formation in my mind of how much you love love.
I do. I think love is life. Love is the driving force in my life, for sure. There's no question about it. And that's why I hate to see suffering, because it's the opposite of love. You know, if you love somebody, what do you do? Anything you can. So that's what I'm called to do. And it's a calling. It's not a job. It's not a business. You know, I have all kinds of businesses, obviously, and I enjoy business. But this is my mission. This is what I'm made for. And I'm just one guy there. I can't do everything, but I can do a lot. And I'm always figuring out how to scale more, right? You know, whether it's feeding people or getting, you know, my wife and I, we're fortunate enough to have our own plane, and I don't want to just burn up a bunch of carbon. So I found it's 3,000 trees. So I said, let's plant 100 million trees. So we're up to 75 million. I think we're going to hit the 100 million this year. But we didn't just plant the trees. We taught the farmers, worked with an organization about how to build a crop not once a year, but to do it across 12 different months, so that if something drops, they come out and they go from earning $1.25 a day and starving to making $12 a day, which doesn't sound like much, makes them rich in that community. So we're doing that. It's like I love making things to scale too. It's like I love the individual impact and I love the global impact. The combination of the two make life ever challenging and ever exciting.
With people like Mark and entrepreneurs, my last question about this pattern recognition, and my last question is just, as me, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm building businesses at the moment. I'm earlier in my journey, much earlier than someone like Mark. But what is the pattern that you've seen in these exceptional founders and entrepreneurs as it relates to building great businesses that you would impart on me?
I don't think there's anything I'm going to impart on you that you don't already know, because the fundamentals are so simple. The business has to be more than a vehicle for money. And don't get me wrong. I mean, there are people who have certainly succeeded that way. But if you look at the people that build something that's lasting, it has to be a passion where it's something you believe in so much. It's so valuable. It's a contribution sense to you, not just an economic sense. Because in the beginning of a business, it's like having a child, you know, you don't get a lot back. You work around the clock. You'll discover when your first child comes and you love them. It's the pride of ownership. But if you're a lot of people start a business, think they're going to get rich overnight or and those people never succeed. So it's like finding something, a vision that not only you believe in, but others are completely moved by it, because you can attract people. You can't build an organization without great people. Do you think I could run all these companies if I was just sitting there every day? I mean, I've got some of the greatest leaders I could possibly recruit. I'm constantly looking for the second part, which is, how do I find leaders? How do I find leaders that are smarter than I am in various areas, and where I can pull together the right people together and create a culture that adds massive value and continually does so until it dominates that industry or that market or that marketplace. So I think you have to find something that's more than just a business for you. It has to be more than economics for you. It has to be a mission for the most successful people. And you have to be able to have something you can articulate that can attract people. And you have to constantly find the very best that you can. And you got to constantly prune, because the law of familiarity shows up. That's what your friends went through, right? They got all these great things, but know how great it is after a while, it's familiar. You know, it's like they don't have the same hunger. I look for not only wickedly smart people, which I love, but hungry people. When people ask me, like, what is the one common denominator of people that succeed on a massive scale around the world? I'd always in the beginning say, well, I love wicked intelligence, but I know a lot of very smart people that can't fight their way out of a paper bag in their relationship or their finances. You know, they're smart in one area and not another. But the one that is absolutely, completely accurate is hunger. The hunger to be more, to do more, to give more, to share more. Somebody who has a hunger that doesn't die, not a hunger to make a certain amount of money or a hunger to achieve, a swimsuit size, but a hunger that's unquenchable. Those are the people that you know their names. because they have an impact. So it's like whether it's Richard Branson who's in his 70s, he has the same hunger today as when he was 16 years old in that crypt in your country coming up with Virgin, right? I mean, same level, let's give it a go, right? He's got that piece, anybody you see, look at the people you have on your show and think about how many of them still have that hunger. Kevin Hart, he's a friend of mine. I know he's been on your show. I mean, he's one of the hardest working guys, but he's hungry. He loves it. He just wants to do it all. To me, that's the gift. And stoking your hunger or awakening someone's hunger that doesn't have it, that's a real gift. And that's one of the gifts I think I've tried to refine within myself and help people with.
My last question is, of all the things we've talked about today and everything else that's going on in your life and the world, what is the most important thing we should have talked about that we didn't talk about?
We covered a lot of territory. I'm impressed by the diversity of what we got to cover. Thank you. We went deep. I don't know if there's anything that off the top of my head right now. I do think that I hope people leave with the idea that if I'm stressed in my life, I got to stop managing. I got to start creating. And that sounds like just an overwhelming thing, but it's like creating life on your terms, like deciding what are the immutables. It's like if you want to take the island, you've got to burn your boats. If you have a way to go back, the mind will rationalize and you will go back. But if you really are committed to a greater quality of life, you got to master the science of achievement and the art of fulfillment. And fulfillment is not like achievement. There's very cool real rules for achievement, like what to do with your body, multiple ones, but there's certain fundamentals that are immutable. What to do financially, certain things that are immutable. Fulfillment, that success without fulfillment is failure. And fulfillment is an art. It's not a science. It's different for you and me and everybody we meet. And so I'll tell you one real fast example. I know we've gone over in time. Steve Wynn's a good friend of mine, built most of Las Vegas. Brilliant guy, absolutely brilliant. And one day, Steve calls up. He goes, there's a painting that I have coveted for over a decade. And he goes, I just recently outbid everybody at Sotheby's, and it just got delivered, and you got to see it. And I said, okay, I can't see it. I said, but I got to ask a question. How much did it set you back? And he goes, $86.9 million. I go, $86.9 million? Okay, I got to see what an $87 million painting looks like. So I go to his house. He takes me in, shows me this wall. It's a red square. It's a Rothko, if you know what a Rothko is. It's a red square. And it's not totally red, a little red and orange, right? And I look at him and go, Steve, they missed some spots. And he looks at me and gives me this look, and I start to tease him a little bit. I go, Steve, if you give me $100 worth of red paint, and you give me 10 minutes, I think I can match this. And I'm just screwing him with him a little bit. He knows I'm screwing him. He goes, this is a Rothko. I said, I know. He goes, no, but you don't know. He committed suicide. He tells me the whole story, right? And I go, well, that better be blood of his for $87 million, right? But the reason I tell you this story is it's not making fun of Steve, it's making fun of me. He can look at that and he can barely see, and he knows what every stroke means. It has meaning for him. He knows what it's about, what it means, the uniqueness of it. He knows the man's life. I see a red square. He has an experience. The richness of life is when you go deeper and figure out what makes you feel like it's a red square for someone else, but this is your thing. This is what fulfills you. I know what fulfills me. Family, love, as you can probably tell, and contribution in a meaningful way light me up like a Christmas tree, and they've made me go for 66 years, and it'll keep me going, right? But people got to find what that is for themselves, because if you succeed and you're not fulfilled, what do you got? How many people have taken their life as super successful on the surface, but they weren't fulfilled? Some of the people made everybody on earth laugh when they took their life. Some people did businesses and took their life. I don't think most people are going to take their life, but you don't want to live more decades and not really be here, not experiencing fulfillment. So my passion is to help people be fulfilled, not just achieve.
Amen. I mean, I've got so many other photos that I might as well show you, the ones that...
This is the moment my wife and I met.
That is the moment you met.
Literally the moment we met. How did you get this?
Beautiful one.
That's my mom. That's Jim Robbins. This man adopted me.
I have this one here.
Oh, that's down. This one is actually down in Haiti. I went down there. That's when the first group of people we went to save all these kids. These were kids that had been trafficked. Yeah, my brother and sister. Wow. You do your homework. Very impressive.
We have a closing tradition where the last guest leaves a question for the next, not knowing who they're leaving it for. And the question left for you is, if you could choose your life span, how long would it be? And at what point would you choose to die?
That's a great question. Well, I certainly would want to live as long as my family does, and now I've got to live a little longer because I got a 4-year-old. I don't know if I'd want to live forever. I don't know. There's talk about uploading your consciousness to a machine and so forth. I believe in spirit and soul. I don't know if that's going to be uplifted to a machine. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just the process. But I want to leave as much legacy as possible. I want to live as long as I'm interested and useful. Those are the two things that really matter. And my minimum, I think, is 92 is my goal, as if I had control, right? Life will tell me. But 92 is a number that somehow I've had in my head. And with some of the boosts we have with biochemistry and element stem cells, who knows? Maybe it goes past 100. But I think a century of living and giving would be an extraordinary experience for me. I don't know if I'd want to live for eternity, but I'm not at that point where that's really a choice, so I don't have to think about it. I will tell you, the only fear that I've really felt in my life was dying too soon. I think part of my drive early on was just I want to squeeze everything out of life while I'm here. I don't know where it's come from. I think, a couple things could have contributed to it, but I think death was a good counselor for me. It gave me drive. Today, it's not a fear for me other than I want to be here as long as I can for my family and for especially all my children, but especially my youngest. But yeah, that would be my answer. I'd say not forever, but as long as I'm useful and helpful and I can enjoy it all.
You used the word legacy there.
Yeah, well, legacy is what I leave when I'm gone. In other words, I don't have to be here to continue to have impact, right? It's like that's the best part of life. I looked at, leadership is influence, right? What makes you a leader is your ability to influence thoughts, feelings, emotions, actions of another person. If you're a positive leader for good, and I look at levels of influence. One is, can you influence someone to change their state? Then it's, can you influence them to change their state when you're not there? So you're no longer a manager, right? You've changed their values. Could you change your state and they're not there for a group of people, right? Could you change your state with a mass number of people and you're not there, right? That to me is the ultimate level of influence. And now with audios and videos and AI, especially with AI, I've got an AI that's amazing. I mean, we have 4.9 on Apple and people love it and their lives changed by it. And I'm working right now with another group to create a platform for interventions and therapy that's not just me with AI, because there aren't enough therapists, there aren't enough great therapists in the world. I want to have that. It's already in 50 languages, so the whole world. I want to leave a legacy that the world has people that can help them 24/7, 365. And I think AI is one of the tools. It's getting better and better to do that.
And what happens when you die? Where'd you go?
I don't think anything in the universe, I know nothing in the universe ever destroys, it changes form. What does that look like? Do I have conscious awareness as I do now?